sweet silver bells all seem to say, throw cares away. Christmas is here, bringing good cheer to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, that is the song with joyful ring, all caroling. One seems to hear words of good cheer from everywhere, filling the air. Oh, how they bound, raising their sound. Oh, hill and dale, telling the tale. Gaily they ring, while people sing songs of good cheer. Christmas is here. Merry, 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 merry Christmas. Merry, merry, merry Christmas.
Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. It is Vlogmas number 9. Today is December 22nd. And I have a lot of feelings and conflicted thoughts about The Lost Fisherman, which is the second part of the duet that I'm reading by Jewel E. Ann. This is a contemporary romance duet. I'm very conflicted. There are parts of this book that I am loving so much, and there are other parts that I'm getting frustrated about, you know? But I will say that, like, the tension from the first book is... Hi! It's not as present in this book, but the story is still very compelling, and clearly I'm very invested in these characters and how they're going to end up together. Like, there is a lot of angst in this book. A lot of angst, which I love because I love angst. And there are definitely some tropes. I'm being vague. I will do a spoiler section if you want to be spoiled or whatever. But, like, I feel like there are some things that I really want to talk about that are spoilery, but I won't talk about those right now. I'll talk about those tomorrow because I'm not finished. I'm only halfway through with the book. And, yeah. I don't know how I feel. Like, it's tough because there's like one of my favorite tropes that I didn't realize was my favorite tropes until I read Devil in Disguise. That was the first time that I had read that. Oh gosh, I keep bumping my desk. That was the first time I had read a trope like that happening, where the couple was in love and then he lost his memories, but their love was so strong that they still fell in love anyway, even though his memories were gone. And that's sort of what's happening here. And it's really beautiful, but there are parts of it too that are very painful and that are very angsty. So I don't know yet. I'm very conflicted. I'm really, really curious to see how they're going to end up together. So those are my thoughts about The Lost Fisherman for right now. Also, something else that this book does that I really love, but I know not everyone does, and that's when you have a couple who, like, they feel like they're meant to be together, like, you just know that they're meant to be, but, like, the timing is never right, and so they never actually end up together, and it can span, like, years until they finally get their chance, and I really love that trope. But I know a lot of people don't, but I personally love it. I just think there's something really beautiful and hopeful about two people who find love, but for life circumstances they can't be together, but then years pass and they still have those strong feelings for each other. I just think that's really beautiful. So that's also happening here. Oh, my lights turned out. Anyway, let me fix the lights and then we'll taste the tea. Okay, so the David's tea is gross. I can smell it. Valerian Nights, which, what the frick does that even mean? I don't even know. But it is kind of a pretty color. Like golden. Oh, it smells very butterscotchy, and I don't like that. It's a super mild tasting tea. Like, very, very mild. But sickly sweet. I don't love it. It's not... Like, I imagine that's what butterbeer would taste like without the beer. It just tastes like sugar and butter. And I've had several like that, and I hate it. I don't like that taste. Not one bit. So, I don't like that. That's a 0 out of 10. Now, the Adagio tea is Rooibos Noel, and I'm actually excited about this. It's late. It's like almost 10 o'clock, which is late for me. And I wanted to wait until I had something to say about the book before I did my tea tasting, but I don't want to get, like, behind again, because I still have one day. I still have the 18th of December I have to taste. We'll have to taste that tomorrow. I opened this one, and it smells like... It just reminds me of my mom at Christmas. It's like orange and cinnamon. It makes me very nostalgic. It just reminds me of being a kid at Christmas and my mom. I don't know what she made that tastes like that, or if our house just smelled very orangey and cinnamon at Christmas time, but like, I have a lot of nostalgic feelings about that one, so I have very high expectations this is going to be good. And it is good. It's also pretty mild. Like, it does have like an orange and cinnamon taste, but it also has like an almondy flavor. It says it has apple pieces, ginger, rose petals, natural almond flavor. It's good. I like it. This feels very homey and very comforting. This is a good one. I like it a lot. But a large portion of why I like that is because it just reminds me of my mom when I was little. So that's a good one. Okay, it's late. I'm gonna go read some more and go to bed. And I'll check in with y'all tomorrow. Christmas is almost here. Hello, friends. Welcome back. Okay, today is December 23rd, and I have a few teas to taste and a few book updates. I'm almost finished with The Lost Fisherman, so I am not going to update you on that yet, because I don't really have anything new to say other than what I said yesterday. So, the books that I am reading are, I'm also reading the audiobook for, let's see, yes, I'm sorry, scattered brain. So I have been reading this I started this a while ago. This is book 3 in the Bedouin Saga by Mary Bellog, and this is about Freya and Joshua Moore, who is the Marquess. I really love this series. I think that it's just so, honestly, just charming. Like, I feel like it's a really good way to describe this series. It's very charming. It's very comforting. It's just very unique. I really love the Bedouin family. I think that it doesn't necessarily have similar really storyline or feelings at all. I mean, kind of. But it reminds me a little bit of, like, they're not quite as close as the Bridgerton family, but it reminds me a little bit of that series, just in the way that you're following a family and as they fall in love and get married. So it's really delightful. This is pretty fun because Freya is a little bit feisty, a little atypical of a lady. There's a line in here when she is at a party, and how it was like typical at the time for young ladies to get up and show their talents at like piano and singing or whatever, and they ask her about playing the piano, and she's like, well, when I was a kid, my piano instructor informed me or he stopped me midway through playing to make sure I didn't have 10 thumbs. So my brothers told my parents that, and as soon as they heard, they fired him, and he just was never replaced. And I just thought, I love seeing a very feisty heroine in that way, who's a little bit sarcastic, a little bit funny, a little bit different than just a demure lady. So I really like Freya. I think she's really fun. The opening scene, the opening meet cute between the hero and the heroine is fantastic. Like, they meet, he basically just storms into her room, and she didn't have any chaperones or anybody. He was trying to hide from people who were trying to find him, and it's just fantastic. They have really great chemistry, they do have good banter, but not in the same way as like a Bridgerton does, but it's just delightful. So I'm really liking it. I'm trying to clear off all of the books that are on my currently reading shelf on Goodreads, by the end of the year, and this was one of them. But also, I just really love this book. And the main reason that I picked this up again is because I was talking to Jesson from Jesson Reads Romance, who just finished it, and I was like, I don't want to get behind on that series. This is definitely a series that I want to finish. I am kind of famous for starting series and not finishing them. I definitely want to finish this one. Really enjoying this. It's just a beautiful Mary Bellog. Very excited to see how this ends. And then the other book that I'm reading, that I have been reading for a while physically and I'm still not done with, is The Bully by Sophie Lark. I am, however, this far into it, which is pretty good, like 70% on my ebook. But honestly, like, the book actually ends pretty soon because, like, it ends like, so this is the last of the book. This is just like promotional material for her other books. So I don't really know what else I can really say about this book because it's the third book in the series, and I don't want to give away, if you haven't read this series, I don't want to give away who the heroine is. I don't want to give away anything about the plot. I think something that is happening here that I really like is how much character development is happening with Dean, the hero, and the heroine. I almost said her name. I think that their characters are evolving in a way that is directly related to what's going on in their relationship, and it's just fantastic. The basic plot of this, I realize I never even told you that, is the hero witnesses the heroine do something in the previous book. He's the only one who witnessed. It's a big deal what she did. Nobody knows. She didn't think anybody saw. So he's basically saying, you have to do everything that I say for a month or else I'm going to tell everybody what I saw. So in that way, he kind of is a bully, but it's not your typical bully romance either. Like, it's just very good. Really enjoying this. I think I would be surprised if this is not a 5-star read for me. So, okay, those are the books that I'm reading. That's the update. Let's taste the tea. And here we go. Okay, so the David's tea is caramel shortbread, which doesn't sound very good. It smelled pretty good though. That's not always, you know, it doesn't always mean anything. So, yeah, I hate it. I just hate it so bad. No, that's one sip and done. That's the same thing. It's just sugar and butter. I don't understand these flavors. I think they're terrible. I just do not vibe with them at all. No, thank you. Okay, so the Adagio is Christmas. This one smells very spicy. It sounds like it has ginger, cloves, cardamom, cinnamon, lots of cinnamon. This has cinnamon as well as natural cinnamon flavor. I don't understand what rules are involved in including ingredients in here, but oh well. Anyway, let's taste it. That's pretty good. I like that one. I was hoping for a little more spice, but it's still very good. So this one is probably a 7 out of 10. Really like this one. Absolutely hate the Davids. No. Immediately no. We don't like it. This one was good. All right. Christmas is almost here. I'll talk to y'all later.
The coffee's boiled.
Hello, my friends. Merry Christmas Eve! It's finally Christmas Eve. We have reached the day. We've reached the day where Vlogmas has come to an end. And honestly, I know, like, circling back to my first video where I was kind of talking about how I talked about it for a long time, talking about how overwhelmed I was, how I wasn't really looking forward to filming daily vlogs, and while this month absolutely flew by, and I definitely skipped a few days here and there, I, once again, just really love Vlogmas. There's just something so special for me, about vlogging daily and posting them as often as possible and connecting with you guys who are watching them and leaving comments, and I just really have enjoyed doing this. I've loved having a chance to sit down and talk with you every day about my family, my life, and the books I'm reading, obviously, mostly, but it's just been absolutely delightful, and it is a lot of work, you know? I mean, like, this doesn't pay my bills. This is definitely just a hobby, but it's a very fun hobby, you know, and I really enjoy doing it. And that's something that I always want this to be, is just a safe, fun escape from my daily life or from, like, obligations. Like, I want this to just be a really fun hobby. So, anyway, that's all of that to say. Thank you so much for watching and commenting and being here with me. And even if you didn't comment, that's okay. I'm so grateful for everybody who has watched and subscribed. I know I've gotten some new subscribers, which thank you and welcome. I don't typically daily vlog, obviously, but I do love vlogging, so that will definitely be coming back in, you know, future videos. So yeah, I'm excited about future stuff that I'm going to be doing for you guys. So I have my tea here. It's got to finish steeping for a few minutes before we will taste the very last tea in the advent calendar, which is sad, but also, like, it's okay. So I finished The Lost Fisherman by Jewel E. Ann, and y'all, this duet has honestly made me so conflicted at times. Like, there was a point when I was reading this book where I was literally gonna rant about it. Like, I was thinking, this book very well might be on my most disappointing worst books of the year video, which I still haven't made yet. That's probably gonna be the next video that I make that's not a vlog or a reading wrap-up or whatever. I'm gonna do those end of the year videos. I usually post mine in January. I know most people are doing them right now, but I want to wait until the very last day of the month, you know, in case I find a new favorite or a least favorite. So anyway, The Lost Fisherman is, you know, it's part 2 of this book. I talked about it in my previous clip. And, you know, there was a point in this book where I talked to Jen, who I talk to pretty much every day from the Book Refuge. She's a good friend. And I said, look, I think I'm going to have to rant about this book. I think it's going to be in my worst books of the year. Like, honestly, I was pretty angry. But then, like, I changed my mind, and the ending was beautiful. I really liked it. And I feel like what I talked about a little bit in my earlier clip about how this book, this duet, is so much about people who have, like, really strong feelings for one another when they first meet. Like, they I don't really want to say they fall in love at first sight, but, like, they have a powerful connection. And this couple's connection is really driven by their physical attraction to each other. And that's typically something that doesn't work for me. I don't love books that are all attraction-based because I just feel like that's just not enough. That's just not enough. And honestly, I feel like, and maybe this is why I'm so harsh on some books, if they're too lust-driven, and that's because I am looking for romance books that show me true love that stands the test of time. And honestly, that's why I keep referencing the Grip series by Kennedy Ryan and Real by Kennedy Ryan. Like, I want to see love that lasts. I want to read about passion, of course I do. I want to read about love at first sight. I want to read about sexy flirtation. I want to read about, you know, all kinds of stuff that has to do with love and relationships. But the books that I love and that I give 5 stars take it to another level, and they show me this is a love that lasts. This is the kind of love that you want at 4 a.m. when you're crying your eyes out over something, or grieving. You know, like that's the thing that I want in the books that I'm reading. That's what I'm always searching for. So a lot of times when a book comes around and it's very popular, everyone's talking about it, they're talking about how steamy it is, how wonderful, you know, I'm just sort of like very underwhelmed, because that's not what I'm looking for in a reading experience, you know? I enjoy going through dark places with couples and heavy times because, and this is where I'm gonna rant a little bit about the happily ever after with romance, because you know you've got a happily ever after, I want to see them struggle. I do. I want to see them struggle, and I want to see them tested, and I want to see them triumph over that, you know? I feel like that's the same thing I was looking for when I was a big fantasy reader, is I was looking for that ultimate triumph over evil, you know? Which, like, that's a thing in fantasy. Almost all fantasies have that trope in it. And all romances have happily ever afters, and that's what I'm looking for. And I also feel like that's one reason why I'm so particularly drawn to some authors' dark romances that really explore that, you know? Not necessarily just a dark romance that has, like, dubious consent or consent issues or something that pushes it in the dark category, but it's like a surface level type of dark, you know? I want to get below the surface. I want to see them really have to work for that, you know? And I mean, like, not always. Sometimes I do just want fluff and good times, obviously. And I don't mean fluff derogatory at all. But I feel like especially this year, I'm looking for those books that go to a different level and they really show you love in extreme circumstances and how it overcomes, you know? I feel like too often in reality, people give up too easy. They quit their relationships. Obviously, I'm generalizing things here. They quit their relationships. Divorces are all too common. Breakups are all too common. And I don't believe that that has to happen always. I'm not talking about abusive relationships. I want to read about romances where they have to fight over something and come out of it together. You know, hold on, my battery's gonna die. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I can never get the camera in, like, the exact same spot when I have to take the friggin' battery out. Oh, no. You're on my kitchen counter, and a little precariously set up. Okay, anyway. So, The Lost Fisherman had elements of that. I love those stories where they have this strong connection, their timing isn't right, maybe they're with other people, and then years and years and years pass, and they find their way to each other again. I just friggin' love that so much. So that is a huge part of this book. The tension that was so prominent in book 1 is pretty much gone in this book. Like, you don't have that level of tension here. You do definitely have, I'm going to try and move this again, I'm sorry. You do definitely have an emotional tension, like the emotional angst in this book is very high, which, I mean, I love. So yeah, there were some tropes in here that ordinarily don't work for me, but that's the same as the first book. But for some reason, they did in here. So I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars. It's not quite a 5-star read, but it was very beautifully done, and honestly, I really enjoyed it, and I was very happy with how they ended up together in the end, how they got their happily ever after. I really, really loved that. So I am definitely going to be checking out more by Julie Ann. This was actually the first book I'd read of hers, and yeah, I was very impressed at how many different types of emotions she was sort of trying to balance in here. I thought it was really well done, and it was just, the characterization was really pretty good, I thought. The character growth was excellent, and yeah, it was really good. I did definitely like this better than the first one, so really happy with that. Also, I know I mentioned in book 1 there was definitely some homophobia in there. I feel like that is never addressed necessarily on page, however, I would say there's not any homophobia in this book. Like, it's never addressed in that there's never, like, the characters who were homophobic in the first book aren't necessarily in this book. You don't get to see them. And the heroine, who was very much, you know, raised in a Christian household where all of that was, you know, considered wrong. She had those feelings in the first book. And in this book, you can see that over time, she's definitely, like, grown and progressed in her worldviews, and her views on what is good and evil have really expanded. And I felt like that was good. It was really good. Obviously, it was a good thing, but I would have liked to see, I would have liked it if it had been a little more prominent, if it had been a little more obvious that she was very accepting of the queer people in her life, and that she didn't consider, that her feelings had changed from where they were in the first book. You know what I mean? So, yeah, it was definitely better. And like I had predicted in the first book that we would see that be a character growth from her. Like, it's fairly obvious in the first book that she is an extremely repressed girl who went to a Christian school, and you could tell just in her actions and her thought process that she was getting ready to just break out of that and form her own opinions and everything. So that was really good. I really love that, like I mentioned in the other video. So yeah, I really enjoyed this. It was 4 stars. It definitely wasn't perfect, but it was worth the read for me. But a completely different tone than the first book. It's really interesting. They seem to be almost polar opposites. Like, this book was much more heavy emotional, very little tension with as far as like their physical intimacy goes. The first book, that was the driving force, and there was very little emotional development. So it's interesting. It was very interesting, and I liked it. So 4 stars for that one. So as we finish up Vlogmas, it's time to taste the tea. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, so the David's tea today is a fun one. It's Sleigh Ride. And it smells, and it looks like it had like nuts in it. It smells kind of nutty, cinnamony, orangey. I'm excited. I obviously stole my child's Christmas cup. I mean, it's not really stealing if it's your kids that you, you know, right? I just borrowed it. Anyway, this is our cup for today. So let's try it. I think I may have put too much water in here. I usually use the small cup, so I don't do that. Oh well, anyway, let's try it. Let's give it a try. That's pretty good. I like that a lot, honestly. It's definitely not oversweet. How the frickin' Luya. Once I did let this steep for longer, because I feel like one complaint that I do have with David's tea is that they're very mild flavored. And I don't love that. Like, I want strong. I want something strong, you know? Anyway, yeah, that's a good one. I like that. So now let's try the Adagio tea, and it's Yuletide Toddy. Fun, fun, fun. I'm excited about this. This one smelled so good when I opened it. Like, it has that same sort of citrusy, cinnamony scent, but it also has, like, fruit pieces in it. Like, it has cherries and cranberry flavor. Oh boy, I'm so excited. That's pretty good. It's not as spicy as I was hoping. This is definitely, like, I've never had a hot toddy in my life. I don't drink. But this is very citrusy and a little, like, you can taste the cherries and the cranberry. It's good. It's good. I like it. So that's fun. Those teas are both really good. Liked them a lot. I think that I definitely still prefer the Adagio. I just really like their flavors. I don't know. I just really like them. So, alright, it is time to say goodbye, friends. And thank you so much for following along in this Vlogmas journey. I think this vlog is probably going to be a long one because my plan was to have more shorter vlogs, but then I just didn't have time to edit and get them up every day. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I loved getting the chance to talk to you. Thanks so much for being here, and you'll see me soon. I've got another vlog coming up in a few days that will be posted, so with some different books that I'm reading. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I hope you all had a Merry Christmas if you celebrated it, And I'll see y'all in my next video. And if you have made it this far, please feel free to leave me any type of Christmas or winter emoji, snowflake, Christmas tree, Santa, even a deer. All right? Thanks, guys. See you next time.